So we are joined by
Gabby.
Joel. And the second question we were having was regarding what can the UK do to repair the damages that they caused with imperialism, colonialism, and slavery. So what do you guys think they can? Because I think different training, is it still under the Commonwealth?
We're still Commonwealth, but we're not British rule anymore.
Oh, okay, so what do you think, UK as a whole can do to,
You mean like the government?
Yeah, mainly, because I feel like a lot of the time it's just like chit-chat, especially when it's like 2-3 months, like, oh, they just post 2 things.
Right. I feel like that's a loaded question, though, like...
Okay, I'm like, okay, but where's the money at? Because
tell them to bring me my money.
because that's what we're talking at the end really about. Because there's a reason why you went to certain countries, for example, like Nigeria, is so rich in resources, and it was money at the end. It wasn't nothing. It wasn't because, oh, let's go see these cool people, let's have fun with it. It wasn't because of that. You saw an economic opportunity and you took advantage for them. You're still taking advantage till this day, let's be honest. So my view will be put your money where your mouth is. I feel like a lot of people just put their mouth, they don't put their money.
Right.
So I want to know what even India was making you.
So
You went in.
yeah, I mean,
You know, be so important.
You must never assume, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
Oh my god!
No, I'm from Sri Lanka. Oh shit. I'm from Pakistan. I'll be like,
right. So I'm from India. So the thing is, yes, the UK has, I mean, the Brit in general, like, they colonized us for a very, very long time. We were a rich country in terms of just quick background and context that we had multiple kingdoms. We just did not have one kingdom who ruled the nation. We had more than 15, 20 different kings ruling the nation. So having like an extremely high GDP to go down to minus GDP, that was a lot. And now I think India's back in terms of on the table when we talk about economic succession, when we look at growth of a country in terms of GDP, we're back again as the country is doing well, right? And I remember Germany gave some amount of money in terms of compensation to countries that they were colonized in the past. But in terms of India, even if you hand over money, it is still not going to suffice a nation of 1 billion people. But I feel in return what the Brits can do or the UK government can do is open more opportunities for people to come here and study and work and make things easier so that overall, instead of just handing out a one-time payment, the damage that was done was for like an entire century, right? It
okay,
can't
I'm
just...
going to be the devil's advocate. Not everyone can come to the UK.
True.
Someone might say that, even though I don't really agree, but someone might say, oh, but we can't have everybody to the UK,
Obviously, Brexit.
Yeah,
But like the thing is, I think even like for the people who are living in the country, right? Like there's laws that are still kind of discriminatory, like even people within the country, which they could look at. And obviously, I think like the way obviously currently the party which is ruling is kind of conservative, so even their laws will reflect that. But generally, even the people that live in the country, right? The way that they interact with each other, the way they interact with black people, there's something to say about that. But I think that what they could do is actually incorporate that kind of stuff into the education system, so that people grow up understanding that, okay, these things happen, rather than pretending or like having to find out via YouTube or it's like going around. Yeah, I think it should be part of the education so that everyone knows, okay, this happened and it was wrong. And if the government actually cares, they'll be doing stuff, but at least in the first step should be acknowledging it. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah. And the third question would be, since we have someone from the Caribbean, can someone from the Caribbean identify as African?
I'm probably not the best person to ask this.
Why? Okay, why?
Because I'm just that, I guess, mixed up with a few different ethnicities, so probably not the best person to ask that question.
No, because there's this huge discussion about Jamaican people, for example, not necessarily wanting to identify as African.
Well, I think most people, if you ask most people from the Caribbean, they prefer not to identify as African, but to identify as
Caribbean.
West Indian or
exactly.
Caribbean. They more or less see themselves as separate entities. I can't really explain that. That's something I've grown up with, but that's simply what it is.
What's your opinion on the matter?
It's my opinion on the matter. I don't really have an opinion on the matter.
No, that's fine.
But why is that?
It's how, I guess, our elders have put it to us. It's like, we are from the Caribbean, we're not really from anywhere else. That's how it's been put to us.
I guess that could be compared to like Americans, where there's some consider themselves African American, and then there's some who just consider themselves Black. So it's more of like,
not everyone is African. Not every Black person is African American. Yeah, so I think it's important to have that distinction, because African American means a specific thing, and most of the time they don't even know where they're from. So whereas a Black person knows where they're from. And
do they know?
I mean, I'm not from Nigeria, so.
But some people don't have the, I think we take Africans maybe who are more directly, or like in terms of where their parenting is, it's easier for them to identify where they're from. And sometimes I think we take that for granted, and how easy it is to like actually incorporate into the culture. Well, Black Americans and people from the West Indies and everything, from the islands, sometimes we just assume, oh, you're also Black, so you just have to assume that, oh, you're from Africa. It's easy to identify as African when you know how African state you belong to. And I think the whole idea of Africa is trying to force being African onto other Black people isn't healthy. I don't think it's useful. I don't see the purpose.
Yeah, the same could be said about African Americans. Should African Americans, even though it's in the name, but should they necessarily identify as African? And the thing is,
They don't have anything to be associated with it.
Exactly.
But I just also feel like they may not know their backgrounds or history, because so many generations have been passed, whereas their great-grandparents just either don't know or just don't tell, and so now they're just Black Americans. But I can't really say like where all the way, what part, if I am of Africa, where I am from. So I don't know, I'm a little.
And I think it's even more of a cultural thing, I feel. Especially with the West Indian discussion. I feel like it's more about, I feel like when, for example, Jamaican people say I'm not African, what they really mean to say is like, I'm not part of that culture. In the sense like, I don't do, because it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, no, it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, it's a cultural, because there's a huge difference exactly between West Indian culture and African culture. So I get it when they say that, oh, I'm not African, because they might assume that African people do certain things or have certain beliefs. But I think it's one of those things like it's 50-50. Like, yes, you're not African in the sense like you're not like me in the sense like you don't have the same cultural background as me, but in a sense you're like me, because if you have to trace down our great grandparents were probably from the same exactly the continent. So in that sense you are African, but in another sense you're not really African. And even what does African mean? Because there's so many cultures in Africa. Like, for example, he's from Uganda, but I can say there's a huge difference between Nigerian, which is, huh?
Yeah, and like, I think it's just a thing of like being accepting of people who do want to like learn more about the culture, and like not alienating, like not making it a thing of like it's all or nothing, like you're either African, you're not African. Like,
yeah,
it's like it's okay for people to like not trying to make it like so territorial to like trying to divide.
I mean, sometimes it's good to gatekeep your stuff. Otherwise, you have things that you don't want to really have.
Could you explain that further?
In the sense, sometimes it's okay to be like, oh, this is a Nigerian thing, or this is just a Caribbean thing.
You don't want to share.
No, it's not really about sharing, but respect.
Yeah, I feel like you can respect and share like.
Because I feel like if you don't have boundaries in your cultural thing, and Black Americans can testify to, especially African Americans, you start having, you know,
a motherfucking damn ham a fucking
you start having a situation like the air thing, for example.
The what?
The braid discussion.
Okay.
Or even music-wise, when we speak about music, who are the, like, a Black person can...
I feel like you can share and collaborate and teach the person respectfully.
Well, remember you're a guest. That's what I'm trying to say. In a sense, like...
I just realized what you said. Okay.
Like, remember you're a guest at the end of the day, so don't speak louder than me.
The concept of like not overpowering, I think it's easier to cooperate than. I think it's just the thing of not trying to make it like hostile, like the hostility that comes when you're having that discussion. Like, you're from a different culture,
right?
But you can accept that and you make it so it's fair, but like still be accepting, because we don't want it to become like, oh, they did bad things to us or we're different, so we have to make them feel different.
Mm-hmm.
Or you want like it's okay for people to learn, and as long as obviously not tolerating disrespect, because that's how we got into the mess in the first place, but like still like allowing there to be like interchange of culture, because that's how you grow, that's how you foster growth, and that's how we move on from the bad stuff, I think.
Let's go.
And so...
Are you gonna sign off like a normal YouTube channel?
So I'm your normal YouTuber said, like, make sure to subscribe to our channel. And you
Like,
guys,
comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
This is so humiliating.
Make sure to follow
Deborah.
Joel.
Gavin.
Opeyemi.
Renisha.
I'll put your Instagram handles on the video, so exactly. And make sure to show up at the party, Afro party. And that's it.
Good first.
Okay.